Health and Fitness with David Hollywoods.
With DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports. dssports.ie.
Hi there, how are you going? Let's see what's coming up on your health and fitness show this evening. Alyssa Velez is the Portlaoise Panthers shooting guard and a fitness instructor. She joins us to talk about what it takes to train for the highest level of basketball in Ireland. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. To that end, Tullamore's Fiona O'Malley from Turn to Me Counselling is on to talk about the benefits of therapy. St Abban's AC of Laois is celebrating a significant milestone in the history of the club. We celebrate athletics with them this evening. And we hear from the camps of Clonkill, Raharney, St Killian's and Birr ahead of this weekend's Senior Camogie Championship finals. Next on Health and Fitness, we're going to ask the question, what do you have to do to prepare to take on the best basketball teams in the country? I'm very glad to say the Portlaoise Panthers are on hand to help us answer that question. Alyssa Velez is one of their players, one of their star players. Alyssa, thanks very much for joining us on the programme this evening. Allied to the fact that you are, as I said, a crucial part of the Portlaoise Panthers as they start their Super League season, you also have your own background in fitness. So before we talk about the Panthers and the pre-season and how the first game went, tell us what you do in terms of your fitness business.
Thanks, David. Yeah, so I actually run my own fitness business called AV Fitness. It's just a small business I started up about a year ago, which provides group coaching with teams conducting strength and conditioning sessions and also team nutrition talks. And I also do one-to-one coaching online, working with individuals just to help enhance their lifestyle and see where we can make changes, improving their mindset, nutrition, and training.
It's something you have a passion for?
Yes, definitely have a passion for it.
How long has it been something that you've been really into? Because I understand obviously you've probably played sport from a very young age and that type of thing. When did you realise that aside from competing you also want to help other people along their fitness journey?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually grew up in America. I started playing basketball around the age of 10, I'd say, so pretty young. And then I went on to play Division I basketball for 4 years in America, which is the highest level that you can play at. So it was very demanding, a rigorous training program on and off the court throughout the preseason and during the season. So I knew the basics, but I wasn't fully educated on how an athlete should be eating and training to perform at their best. So after college, I kind of grew a strong interest in fitness and nutrition and started to immerse myself in as much information as I could obtain. I wanted to be able to optimize not only my own performance, but help other people excel, whether that was in the gym or in their own sport. And I just think there's a lot of misinformation out there, specifically when it comes to nutrition. So I wanted to help bring a bit of clarity around that topic as well.
Let's pivot to looking at the basketball scene here in Ireland. It's a great time of the year for you guys because the Super League season has just gotten up and running, and I was speaking to your coach Keith Conroy and the men's coach Jack Scully, and both of them have been saying that preparation has gone really well ahead of this Super League season, and to come away with a 19-point win over Gurna Braher Brunel in your first game in the Super League this season, it points to the preparation having gone quite well.
Yeah, the preparations definitely went as planned with the win over the weekend. We were definitely delighted. You know, the first game of the season, it's always going to be tough. You're going in somewhat blind. You don't know what to expect from the other team. And did we prepare ourselves well enough? Did we get all the nerves out in the preseason games? But I think it showed that our preparation stood to us.
Alyssa, as a shooting guard, you got 28 points for the Panthers. That must have been particularly satisfying.
Yeah, definitely. But I couldn't have done it without the help of the rest of my team. I think we just really played as one cohesive unit, and that's what we'll be looking to do for the rest of the season.
Okay, so let's have a look at how you as a team prepared for this season. Anyone who's played basketball even once in their life for say 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, whatever, they'll attest to just how physically intensive it is. You're running back and forth up a course. You need cardio, you need strength, you need that hand-eye coordination, and most importantly, I suppose as well, you need high-level coaching and teamwork. That's a huge amount of ground to cover. Talk to us how it all starts. When do you start preparing as a group for a forthcoming season?
Yeah, like you said, basketball is definitely a very dynamic sport. So we actually started our preseason training back in June this year, which was fairly early for a Super League team to start. But we were on the court twice a week for 2 hours in those sessions. It was a lot of running, but as Keith probably said, it was done with a basketball. So it was all relative to what we'd be doing on the court. But it was really important that we could build up our cardiovascular endurance. It's definitely difficult to replicate the stimulus that you're going to experience in a game, as anyone would know that plays a team sport. So it's hard to really get in that game shape without actually playing the game. But I think it was great that we were on the court while we were doing our fitness, so it wasn't necessarily ever running without the basketball. So we were improving our basketball and fitness simultaneously. And then we also went for a few team strength and conditioning sessions. But aside from that, it was our own responsibility then to get in the gym, whether that was getting extra shots up to improve our individual roles or to go and lift weights so we could get stronger, and also incorporate our own cardio sessions so we could maintain that level of fitness through the preseason going into the season then.
Tell us from your own perspective, what aspect of physical preparation do you actually struggle with more? Like, some people naturally adapt to cardio work, other people get better reward out of strength and conditioning work and weights. What's your favourite? What's your least favourite?
So my personal favorite has to be getting in the gym and then also on the court through basketball itself. But I do really struggle with going out just for a run. I could run for 3 hours on the basketball court if it's in a match, but having to go outside and run even 5K, I just find it really mentally challenging. And I think a lot of athletes might be in the same boat when it comes to that. But I do love getting in the gym and weightlifting, so that's been a huge passion of mine and definitely helped to improve my game on the court as well.
And as time's gone on, I think research has pointed to the fact that a strong muscular skeletal structure for the human body can prolong our life as well. So there's real health benefits to keeping on top of stuff like strength and conditioning, even if we're not competing in Super League basketball. Getting to the gym and lifting weights or lifting weights at home, if we can manage to put some sort of habit in there on our weekly routine, it could really stand to us in the future.
Definitely. I think, like you said, there's a lot of research now behind the benefits of resistance training. And I think more and more people are realizing that, and even just trying to get in. And if they start with bodyweight movements or resistance bands, that it'll really help improve your overall lifestyle and well-being, and that you do find it enjoyable and rewarding. But it's just those monotonous habits that you can maintain, whether it's in the gym or with your nutrition, that really help just to enhance everything overall.
Yeah, self-confession moment here. I really struggle with weights. It's my kryptonite. I don't know why, but like you were saying with the running, I don't emotionally gravitate towards it. So you just have to make yourself do these things. Let's look at the basketball preparation again. You started off the season in the summer doing a couple of sessions a week for a couple of hours, and obviously you're building up cardio there, but keeping the ball in hand. When it comes to then more developed tactics on the court and how you plan to play in games, does that come more to bear when you start taking up challenge and practice matches in preparation for the season?
Yeah, definitely. Like I said, it's very hard to replicate what you're going to face in a game when you might be working on your own with no defense, or even in team trainings when we're just going through drills. So it's important that we try to keep everything game speed, and that each individual player is working on shots that they know they'll be seeing in a game, so that we are ready and prepared when we're playing against that defense, that we can kind of replicate those same tactics that we've been working on.
the mood seems to be particularly good in the team building up to the season as the season starts. Is that something that you've noticed? Do you think there's any particular reason behind that?
Yeah, I just think we have a great group of girls, and we just seem to gel really well together. So we hope to continue to bring that on for the rest of the season. And it's just a great team atmosphere, a good environment. Everyone's very positive. So I think we kind of are just all working off each other and lifting each other up. So just really focus on that positivity for the whole season and hope that that can contribute to our success then.
It's the joy of team sport, isn't it? That
it is.
You can derive such strength from that aspect going well. What about the future for you beyond basketball or alongside basketball? Where do you envisage your fitness enterprise going? Have you got any specific ambitions for it?
So my ambitions personally for my fitness business would be to just keep growing it and continue to help and have an impact on as many individual people and teams as possible. I think just having the knowledge and awareness around the importance of nutrition and training and how those can impact not only your lifestyle as an athlete, but also in general for the general population. I think that I just hope to continue to grow my business and hopefully have a positive impact on as many people as possible and educate them so that they can live in a way that will be productive for them and healthy and happy lifestyle.
Alyssa, if anyone listening thinks that you're the woman for them in terms of their fitness journey, what's the best way to get hold of you?
Yeah, they can definitely get in touch with me through Instagram. AV Fitness is the name. So I'd be happy to get in touch with anyone who's looking to improve their overall well-being. And I think anyone can do it.
Let's finish up by looking forward. This weekend, you're against Liffey Celtics in St. Mary's Hall in Portlaoise. I'm right in saying that, am I?
Yes, Liffey Celtics. Correct.
Tough game?
Yeah, Liffey is always a good team. They have a lot of homegrown talent, strong players, a couple on the Irish international team. So we know that that'll always be a tough one for us. But I think coming into St. Mary's Hall, it's always a good game, and the opposition always knows that it'll be a tough one to battle it out for all 40 minutes. So we're hoping to get a win. Be great for us.
Back-to-back wins would be a great way to start the season, so we wish you the very best in that game. We thank you for joining us on Health and Fitness this evening, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again down the line.
Thank you, David.
National mental health charity Turn to Me are on next. Their CEO is Tullamore's Fiona O'Malley. We're talking about your mental health and the benefits of therapy.
Health and Fitness.
With DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports at 085 871 5311 or info@dssports.ie. DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Your success, our priority. Let's grow together.
Midlands 103.
Next on Health and Fitness, we're turning our attention to the issue of mental health. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, and as October marks the start of this, I'm very glad to say that Turn to Me, a national mental health charity, joins us on the programme in the guise of Fiona O'Malley. And Fiona, thanks very much for taking the time to talk to us this evening. It's an important month for groups like Turn to Me to be able to get important messages out to people, isn't it?
It absolutely is, and we always see an increase in the demand for our services leading up to Christmas time. That's usually our busiest time of the year, actually. So we are delighted to be able to speak to you today and to be able to encourage people to seek therapy and to sign up for therapy and all of the benefits that can go with taking that important first step.
As the CEO of Turn to Me, you'll have had plenty of experience in seeing people's journeys from, I suppose, that internal reflection and acknowledgement that they have something they need to or they want to work through, but they actually need help to do it. Talk to us about maybe some of the reasons to start therapy that might actually help people in terms of processing their own decision making?
Yeah, so one of the most important reasons is to start therapy is early intervention. So Turn to Me is in the early intervention area, and it's really important to have that early intervention mindset, because therapy provides an opportunity to, I suppose, nip the issue in the bud before it escalates, or address the problem before it gets worse. And when you engage in therapy now, you can develop that resilience and the coping strategies that you might need into the future. The second reason is personal growth and self-discovery. So therapy isn't just for people who are in distress, it's also a pathway to personal growth. And when you engage with a trained therapist, that can help you explore thoughts, feelings, and maybe help you analyze dysfunctional relationships or dysfunctional or unhealthy patterns that you have in your life. The third reason is accessible support with no waiting list. So Turn to Me's unique selling point is that we have immediate support with no waiting lists for free mental health services in Ireland. So what that means is that you can sign up for Turn to Me services today, and you can attend a support group on the same day. You can also use our free thought catcher mood diary immediately, and you can use our free meditation program immediately. And when you log in to our website turntome.ie, you can see the counselling slots that are available every single week, and the average turnaround time for someone booking their first free counselling session and attending that counselling session is 3 to 5 working days. That's one of the quickest turnaround, I suppose, timelines in the country.
Yeah.
Some waiting lists for free professional counselling in Ireland is up to 18 months. So 18 days is a long time to wait, never mind 18 months. So we're delighted to be able to offer those immediate services to people who really need them, because, of course, when you are feeling down or you feeling anxious, you feel like you might need to speak to someone, time really is of the essence.
Yeah. One of the things you touched on there, which I find like a really interesting idea, is that counselling and therapy doesn't have to be for those in distress, that this can be a tool that we use to improve ourselves. And we hear so much in the business world and the corporate world of having an improvement mindset and mentality. From your perspective, based on your experience dealing with mental health, is there a case to be made for asking the state to actually get involved in bringing younger people through therapy and provisioning for it in a far more comprehensive way nationally?
Yeah, absolutely. Because as you say, it fosters all of those coping mechanisms. It improves resilience. We're seeing in young people, particularly, resilience is quite low compared to other generations. But some might argue that just comes with life experience. You become more resilient as you overcome more problems and more hurdles throughout your life. But yeah, one of the things that we are seeing for sure is young people are not as resilient as people in older generations. So I suppose when you have the tools like therapy to problem solve and to examine the relationships and the dynamics of the relationships that you're in, whether it's in work life, your romantic life, or your friendships, and if there are maybe dysfunctional patterns there, or if there are destructive patterns there, it might get you to examine those. And it's all about self-improvement. And we would encourage people to not, as you say, just look for therapy or just seek therapy when you are in distress or you're feeling low, to maybe consider signing up for therapy when you're in a great place, because that can be, I suppose, a place of strength where you might feel you're in the headspace to examine some issues that you might have pushed to the back of your mind for a while.
Yeah, it's a really interesting idea, because I think for therapy to work, you have to be willing to put the work in. And if you go in a good time and space in your life with the idea that you're willing to put that work in, the progress that you can make, I suppose it's unquantifiable based on each individual, but certainly there's opportunities there for, as we said, people to come out happier and more fulfilled maybe. Another one worth touching on in terms of anyone who is considering looking at therapy as a way to help themselves at the moment is talking about the dynamic. If they've never been to a counselling session or received therapy, they might find the idea of doing it a bit intimidating. Are they going to be laid out on the long couch and having their brain examined? Will they be judged? Any of this stuff. You might put a few of those concerns and myths to bed.
Yeah, absolutely. So therapy is a safe space to share the issues that you're having or the difficulties that you're having. And the number one feedback that we get from all of our services, regardless of age, regardless of gender, regardless of background, regardless of demographics or geolocation, the number one feedback that we get from all of our users across the board is, I should have done this years ago. And that absolutely breaks my heart, because I think, all of those years and months of struggle and being in distress and pointless anxiety just kind of looming over you, when you could have had the learning and you could have had the skills to help you deal with those difficulties. So life is filled with challenges of lots of different kinds, and therapy equips you with practical tools and with coping strategies to deal with these challenges. And whether it's stress, anxiety, relationship issues, a therapist can help you develop these skills and to manage these challenges effectively. And October is a great time to invest in yourself and to consider therapy as a part of self-improvement, and to consider it as a toolbox for a healthier mindset.
And if anyone wants any more information on what Turn to Me can provide, turntome.ie, Fiona, is the best way to go about it.
That's it, exactly. Yeah, turntome.ie, and we run 365 days a year. We offer up to 6 free counselling sessions to adults living in Ireland. We also offer unlimited support groups on anxiety, grief, depression, relationship issues, and we have a free meditation programme. They're all available on our website, turntome.ie.
Tullamore's Fiona O'Malley, CEO of Turn to Me. Thanks very much for joining us on the programme.
Thanks so much for having me.
What does it mean to be part of a club? That's the essential question we're talking about next. St Albans Athletics Club are about to join you and me to celebrate a special milestone.
Health and fitness.
With DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports at 085 871 5311 or info@dsports.ie. DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Your success, our priority. Let's grow together.
Midlands 103.
Our sports clubs across the Midlands are the very fabric of our societies in a lot of ways. They provide a massive service to us culturally and socially, and we're going to celebrate one of them on Health and Fitness this evening. That's St Albans Athletics Club, who recently just celebrated a bit of a milestone in the history of their club. Their 500th member has joined the Laois Athletics Club. I'm very glad to say Club Secretary and Coach James Nolan joins us from St Albans on the programme this evening. James, thanks very much for taking our call.
Thank you very much, David, and thanks for having me on and for giving the club this time on the radio.
Not at all. Look, sometimes 500 members is a big moment in a club. It could be a small moment if they were in, I don't know, Dublin city centre or whatever. But from St Albans' perspective, contextually, what do you think this means?
Well, it's a massive achievement. So St Albans is based in the parish of Mayo Dunan, which is the smallest parish in Leinster, I believe. So to get 500 members is no small achievement, especially considering it's an extremely rural part of County Laois.
And also considering, I suppose, just how well the club does in terms of competition. It's remarkable just how, I suppose, well the club punches above its weight in that regard.
Yeah, very much so. I suppose we were lucky from the club's foundation that we kind of carved out that corner of Laois as where athletics was a very prominent sport. And I suppose generation upon generation, we just kept building up the knowledge base within the coaches and the committees. And eventually it's led to this level now where we have, several senior athletes competing at national and even European and world level. And then we have such a strong juvenile section coming up behind as well. So we're very lucky in that sense. Tell
us, off the top of your head or even approximately, when was the club founded? How old is it?
It was founded in 1955, so we're actually coming up now to our anniversary in 2025. So that will be a big year for us, and it will actually probably be a nice time for us maybe to pause and just reflect on everything that's gone on in the previous 70 years, because it's, especially now since COVID to now, we've had tremendous success, and maybe not the time to take a breath and just appreciate just how much has been achieved.
Yeah, I think it's really important to be able to zoom out and look at the work that you guys are doing, because I understand and appreciate on a week-to-week basis there's so much to do. There's so many events and sessions that it kind of gets lost, and all of a sudden 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, they go by in the blink of an eye. What about your own personal history with the club? You're obviously putting so much of your own time into it with the roles that you hold in coaching and organising at secretary level. What gave you the drive to get involved with St Albans the way you are?
Well, I suppose when I joined St Albans, I was 16. I tried a lot of clubs in the area. I suppose the one thing that I would always say stuck with me St Albans is it wasn't necessarily the sport I was most gifted at, but it was a place that I always, from the first day I went in, I felt welcomed and I belonged there, and the people wanted me to be part of the club, and that never left. And that's kind of something that I hope we instill in every person. You know, it's not so much in St Albans about your ability, but it's about character, who you are, and what, you know, each individual as they are. And that's probably the only reason I'm still involved in St Albans. You know, there's 100 sports and different things any child could do, but it's how any particular child feels within an organisation probably keeps them at it.
Tell us then, from a coach's perspective, I understand that you are coaching through the juvenile section of the club. That journey that you get to watch, maybe a shy and retiring child turning up at their first session feeling a bit intimidated and a bit lost, to seeing how that the confidence can grow and friendships develop in front of your eyes, like that must be a special experience from an adult coach's perspective.
Absolutely. I can assure you, if there's any parents listening, the number one thing I'd say to any parent is never get too excited about your 10 or 11-year-old, because I've seen kids come in that, you know, they were nervous, they were holding on to mammy's jackets, and then 3 or 4 years on, when I'm handing them over to the next coach up the chain, you know, they're such a determined athlete. They're looking to do everything correct. They're looking to drive on in every capacity. And I suppose the one thing I would see is, you know, as I say, there's lots of things any child could do. They're all just vehicles to learning skills, but the skills you gain from athletics, you can go on and apply. I've seen people go on and apply in school, in college, in work, and it's really nice to see that. And as you said there about friends, there's something about the friendships you make when you are in battle with people, when you're going to war, tugging out to do races with each other. They're friendships that tend to stay with you throughout your life.
And there's that other side of it as well. You've just alluded to it there, competing against your club mates in either club races or in training sessions. And then when you put on the singlet to represent your club, it breeds and fosters a special connection between people. And you know, I think you can feel that building every time you meet up for your own training sessions after races. There's a sense of acknowledgement between each other that you're all representing your community.
Yeah, and it has to be that way, because we've membership pulling from a very broad geographical area. So you really need that. You know, when I say to kids, when you go to races, where are you from? They'll say to me, St Albans, and that's the secret of success. And there really is something terrific about when you can see young people able to compete against each other for the individual medals, but then also be so happy when a teammate does pass them out, because they know as part of the team scoring, we're in a better position as well. And there's a great life lesson in that too. You know, that you can have friends and you can want to do well individually yourself, but you also have to be able to be happy for their success in life.
Tell us then, James, the cross-country championships are taking place all across the Midlands at the moment, and St Albans have had a decent run of things in the Laois County cross-country over the course of the last while as well. Do you want to run us through some of the highlights for the club, be it in the juvenile or adult sections?
Well, we've just completed our day 2 of the cross-country, which was held by Ballyroan Abbey Leaks, and that was a terrific day and a terrific course. I suppose at county level, cross country serves a valuable role, because it allows those who know they're going to be going on to Ireland level to get in a couple of races early doors. But it's far more important for the up and coming athlete to be able to dip their toe in the water without overexposing themselves. And that's the key with any sport, is that children are achieving success at their level, and that's why the cross country is so important. And we're in particularly very lucky, because others we have, you're going to have maybe 3-4 teams out per age group, and that gives so many children. Then if it's 4 kids per team, that's given 12 teams a chance at medals, or 12 athletes, a chance of medaling on the 3 teams. So it's very important that way, because it can't, you know, not every child will go on to that Ireland level or Leinster level. So it's so important that we have that opportunity at county level, that children can have that success.
And there's great excitement on the days, on the weekends that these cross-country championships are held. I sometimes, after finishing an adult race, to hang back and watch the complete lack of strategy and the complete carefree running of a child through cross-country. It's one of the best things going.
It is, and it's actually, one thing I'd always say to coaches is let's try keep that instilled in kids as they get older, because sometimes as we get into adults we become far too interested in what the smart watch is telling us, or what all this data and information. And sometimes you just need to remember, I'm out here to race, and to race against myself and the competitors, and just let that battle unfold rather than overthinking, judging K by K what the watch is telling you how you're going. Sometimes you just need to keep that carefree attitude and the energy that a child would have when they get into a race.
Yeah, and the reality is cross-country is a special case in and of itself, because the watch might tell you one thing or another about your pace per kilometre or mile, but there's no telling about the terrain that you're running over in that mile or that kilometre. So really, it's about picking out the vest in front of you and trying to catch up with, stay with, or run past.
Absolutely, and that's the only way you are going to know how you perform in a cross-country race is when you cross that line. You'll have a little chat with yourself, and you'll know very quickly if you feel like you had anything left in the tank. You know what I mean? Like if it's hands and knees stuff at the end of some of these races, and that's really the only measure you need is did I empty the tank today? And I can assure you, if you watch the kids' races, there's no holding back there.
No, that's the best thing about it. And spiritually, I think there's just something special about walking away from an event like that, knowing that you couldn't have given any more, because it's rare as humans we get to have that feeling. The final question, James, is if anybody listening, maybe a parent, thinks that they want to bring their child down to St. Albans to dip their toe in it, or indeed maybe one of the adults are thinking they might try a training session to get back on the horse, as it were, how do they get in touch, and how might they go about becoming member 501 or above?
Well, they can find us on Facebook or through our website, stalbansac.ie, and all the contact information is up there. So they'll be coming straight to me if they do try contact anyway. So I look after them then. But depending on where they are, I'd also advise people, all throughout the Midlands. There's some great running clubs all throughout Laois and the rest of the Midlands, and very rarely does someone get involved and look back and think that that was a mistake in my life. So I just say, if you're thinking about it, just reach out and do it.
St. Albans AC, 500 members and counting. We'll catch up with you maybe when you hit the 70 years old mark and beyond. James Nolan, thanks for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
You're about to be joined by no less than 4 camogie teams, or at least representatives of the 4 teams. The Westmeath and Offaly Senior County Finals of this weekend will bring you around the Midlands next.
Health and fitness
with DS Sports. Is your sports club ready for a Christmas kit upgrade? Contact DS Sports at 085 871 5311 or info@dssports.ie. DS Sports, the teamwear specialists. Your success, our priority. Let's grow together.
Midlands 103.
Welcome back. The Westmeath and Offaly Senior Camogie County Finals are this weekend, and we've decided to bring you a sense of the excitement and anticipation in each community by chatting to players on each of the clubs involved in the Senior A Finals. First up, ahead of the Westmeath Championship Final, you'll hear from Anna Weir. She is the co-captain of the 9-in-a-row champions Raharney. We start by talking about their opponents, Clonkill.
We played Clonkill over the last few years. I think it could be the 6th final in a row that we've played Clonkill. One year they brought us to extra time, and they've really been up our necks now the last few years, and they've got some great players, and we all know them sort of personally if we've been in with the county and stuff like that. Like, we know like the likes of Megan Dowell, she's unbelievable. Like, she's a hero, and she's really hard to stop, but we're just hoping that we can do a job on her on the day, I suppose, but we're looking forward to it now. We have so much respect for for Clonkill. We're all trying to just keep the standard of camogie high in Westmeath, and I think that Saturday is going to really show that the standard of camogie in Westmeath is really high at the minute.
Yeah, and no better game for people to get down to if they haven't managed to get down to a club championship match over the course of the last number of weeks. Then the county final will be a great one to take in with these 2 great clubs. Tell us, why do you think Raharney just manage to get over the line in these finals so often then? What's the secret?
We have we actually, I think it goes really unknown. It might look like it's kind of easy sometimes, but it's far from easy. Like the sacrifice that all the girls have made over the last few years, it's been great. Like we've been on the road for a long time, and we I suppose like over the last few years we've had some long seasons. Like we've come a long way. We've with the last, like we've won the Leinsters and stuff like that, so it's really been like a long road. We've still had like long campaigns, long years, and all that work goes really unknown to a lot of people. The hard work that you need to put in, like the time, and like there's not much time for anything else other than playing camogie, but that's what we love camogie and Raharney, and like we do enjoy it, and we all get on so well. Like the group of girls, they're amazing. Like and we've been through it all. We've won, we've lost, and like we just use all them and just to work hard and strive, and we know what we want. That's one thing. We know what we want, and we work for what we want, and that's just probably the big thing.
Final question, Anna. It seems to me that you're pretty proud of your team.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So proud of the team. As I said, like it's been such a great road. Like the last few years, it's been amazing, and we've had great managements with us. And I suppose it does come back to as well our underage careers as well. We would have had the likes of Liz Shaw and Yvonne McKeough growing up, and then we had Power Content there for 5 years, and it's just like this, the standard of trainings that we've had has just been amazing. And then this year we've Stephen Quinn is over us. He was with us last year as well. And we've Stephen Quinn, Nick Weir, Olive Weir, Dan Riggs, and Brian Smith, and like the wealth of knowledge that we've had, and they're all like all of them are club, Raharney were their club people, and they have a huge love for Raharney as well, and it really does show as well. So we're all just really looking forward to Saturday, and hopefully all going well, we'll be champions again.
What about Clonkill? Their captain is Maeve Scally. She's been telling me how excited everyone is ahead of the big day.
The final, every team tries to get into the final, and like that we're lucky enough to have got there again for another year, so we're really looking forward to it.
Tell us about the campaign so far, as you reflect on how your club got through to the final, and what do you think you've developed and improved upon over the championship?
So we had 3 group games at the start, and it was a case of you had to kind of top the group to make sure you were definitely into the semi-final. And like that, they're always a good challenge as well. There's Castletown and the Wood, so all of them gave us a good game as well. So hopefully they'll stand to us now in the final. And then we had Drumraney in the semi-final as well, which was always a tough battle. But like that, it's where getting there and where we want to be. So it's very good.
Speaking of challenges, Raharney are proving a pretty tricky team to shift off the top of Westmeath Camogie. How do you fancy your chances this weekend?
We'll go out and give it our best, and sure, that's all we can do. Hopefully it's good enough.
How's preparation going for the final? Is everyone in decent form and fitness?
We're all training well and like that, training hard, and we've the goal in mind, and that's where we want to be, is in the final, and we got there. So hopefully now we get over the line.
One of the great things about club championship finals, county finals, is the fact that the whole community gets behind the club. So I imagine you're hoping that everyone from around the surrounding areas and beyond in Westmeath can get out and support Clonkill, but also Raharney, I suppose, so that Cusack Park is packed to the rafters.
Oh, exactly. And like that, it's not just, I'm hoping Westmeath in general is very good at backing all games, like whether it be our club or whoever was in the final. Like there's always so many spectators, and it's so great to see as well that whenever we do look up into the stands, it's full of people, like, and the more the merrier, regardless of who you're shouting for. So that's it. It's great to see you the support in Cusack.
Throw-in is at 2:15 on Saturday in TEG Cusack Park. We turn our attention to Offaly next. Birr, the defending county champions, they face St Killian's in a rematch of last year's final. Killian's keeper Casey Larkin's been telling us about how they're approaching the big rematch.
Yeah, it's kind of 50-50. Like, we're definitely taking lessons from last year. Like, it's hard not to when it went the way it went. Obviously we came out on the losing side last year, but at the same time we're looking at it in a way that, like, that kind of last year was last year, this year's this year. We're a completely different team. Like, we've lost actually a lot of our starting 15 since last year, but we're very, very confident going into this year now. Like, losing the couple of girls from the starting 15 has been tough, but like, we came back stronger. So it's a bit 50-50. Look at last year but also look towards this year as well.
Your last two championship games have been against KK, Kilcormac, Loughy, and most importantly, obviously, you've managed to win by a handful of points to get into the final again. Talk to us about this year's championship campaign and how it's gone.
Yeah, we're actually pretty happy with how our championship went this year. Like, two very tough games, like you said, against Kilcormac, in the last of the group games, and the semi-final there. Kilcormac are a really, really strong team, and we knew going into it that it was going to be a tough game both times. But championship group games this year have been very strong as well. Like, there was a lot of like hit and go kind of moments, But no, thankfully we managed to kind of pull through and we got as far as we did. So we're really looking forward to the final now. We've had a lot of tough games this year, and we know the final is going to be no different than that.
Talk to us about the game from your position and your perspective. It's a unique position on the pitch, like you have so much of it in front of you, but obviously you're quite detached from what goes on in the deeper thirds of the pitch, as it were. Are you able to kind of get messages across about what kind of shape and issues you're seeing, like live in games and that type of thing? Do your sort of midfield and defence listen out for what keepers say in that regard?
Yeah, it's a tough position to play in, like, especially like this is my first year playing in goals. We actually ended up, our goalkeeper went abroad to Australia last year, and it just so happened that we managed to find a super sub goalie, but she's actually gone abroad as well doing her masters. So it was a really out of the blue thing that I stood into goals this year. Now I have no problem doing it, and it's worked out really well so far, thankfully. But it's definitely it's a tough thing, especially we find, as like St. Killian's as a whole, communication is a tough thing, but we've definitely worked on it a lot this year and improved on it a huge amount. And we're very good at, like, if I can't vocalize as far as midfield, I can call on my cornerbacks and they'll vocalize it to the wings and to, like, we'll work it up the field rather than just trying to scream the whole length of the field, because that's just not going to work.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Then final question, I suppose, is when it comes to this weekend's game, how are you managing that kind of balancing act between nervousness and excitement and anxiety? Because obviously too much of all this stuff can kind of scramble the brains a bit. But by the same token, every player lives for county finals and you're getting to do another one this year. So you have to savour it.
Yeah, like, this is where you want to be at the end of the year. Nobody sets out at the start of the year, in January, February, when you're running around in the rain and the mud. You're not setting out to be finished by this time of the year. You want to be in our position. Like, we have a very young team. Like, pretty much everyone on the team is either still in college, still in secondary school, or they're just out of college. So we have that kind of to keep our minds busy, that, during the week we have our college work or our school or just work at our jobs, So that kind of keeps our mind off it. But still, you don't want to be going into it like, not thinking about it at all. The nerves are good. If you're not nervous, there's something wrong. That's what our managers and mentors have been saying to us all week, that if you're not nervous, there's something wrong. You need to have that certain element of nervousness and just a bit of anxiety about it, but don't let it overrun you. It's not the end of the world. It's just a game at the end of the day.
And finally, to the Offaly defending champions, Sheila Sullivan captains the Burr team this year, and she says she has no shortage of respect for St. Killian's.
Well, they're always a tough challenge. They bet us earlier on in the year in the first round of the championship, so we know, like, they'll have that bit more experience this year. They're in the county final last year as well, and coming on another year on, they'll be gunning for it this year. So I suppose just they'll have the motivation, so that'll be something that we'll have to deal with on the day.
Yes, on that point, actually, even looking back at last year's championship final, how important do you think it is to have experience when you go into those, what are ultimately unique occasions?
Yeah, I suppose it kind of stood to us probably last year in that we had the experience of winning one the year before. Definitely with some of our younger girls, just even having the know-how to kind of, we were under a bit of pressure at the start of the game, and just to be able to kind of keep the heads through that part, it is invaluable.
but we know it's going to be a new game on Sunday, so any past encounters we have really stand for nothing when it comes to a final. Anything can happen on the day, so it just comes down to who performs, really.
Yeah, it's all down to the day itself. What about the championship campaign so far? How do you reflect on how the team's been performing the last couple of times out against Shinrone? I think, was it you lost the last group round game against Shinrone, but managed to turn the tables in the semi-finals to book your place in the decider?
Yeah, we lost to Shinrone by a couple of points in the last group game. It was a tough game, as it always is with Shinrone, but campaign was kind of mixed. We lost our opening game to Killians, and we had a couple of good results, and then lost our last group game to Shinrone. So kind of hard to gauge off it, but I suppose it's knockout is when it counts. So once we got into the semi, it was good to get over that hurdle anyway. So hopefully we're leaving our best performance till the end.
Yeah,
fingers crossed anyway.
Time will tell, of course. In terms of, say, the message that you be given to your teammates or the management team imparting to the players, what are you looking to see from Birr this weekend to kind of bring a bit of improvement on the pitch, or what's the key focus in terms of performance?
I suppose it's just kind of sticking out through the full, kind of getting a performance together for the full 60 minutes. We've hurled well in patches in some of the games so far, and it's just about putting a full performance together. So it's having no doubt of what Killians are going to bring to it, and being ready for, I suppose, what we're going to face on the day. We've no doubt it's going to be another tough game against them. So hopefully it'll come out on our side, but it'd just be to keep the heads down, and I suppose if things go against, just to keep on hurling.
Yeah, that game at 3:15 in St Brendan's Park on Sunday. Best of luck to all the teams involved in the Camogie finals and championship action across Laois, Offaly and Westmeath this weekend. Joe Cooney is next with Country Roads. Take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.